There is a truth most people will never understand, a truth that divides the masters from the mediocre, the disciplined from the defeated. Your mind will serve whoever trains it. That means you are either the commander of your mind or the captive of it. There is no middle ground. Your mind is not the enemy. It's not working against you. It's just doing exactly what it's been trained to do. If it panics, it's because it's been programmed for panic. If it gives up early, it's because quitting has become familiar. If it seeks comfort, it's because comfort has been rewarded. Over and over again, your mind is loyal, terrifyingly loyal, and it obeys the patterns you've repeated most, and that should shake you awake. Because it means that everything you're experiencing, the fear, the self-doubt, the distraction, the frustration, isn't random. It's a reflection of your training. And most people are walking through life with a mind that's been trained by chaos, by culture, by trauma, by distraction, not by clarity, not by intention, not by truth. Let me tell you something that could change everything. The mind you're living with today was built by the thoughts you tolerated yesterday. And if you don't like where your thoughts are leading you, you don't need more motivation. You need new training. The world is not waiting for the strongest, the smartest, or the most talented. It's waiting for the ones who have trained their minds to be consistent, unshakable, focused. You don't rise by accident. You rise by design. And design begins in the dark, in those early mornings, in those late nights, in those lonely battles when your mind says, "This is pointless," and you say, "Do it anyway." That's the training ground. Your mind responds to repetition. It listens to what you do more than what you say. You can speak all the affirmations in the world, but if your actions scream laziness, fear, and compromise, your mind will follow. That's script. You want to change the way you think, then change the way you train. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not loud. It's not inspiring when you're in it. It's grueling. It's boring. It's quiet. But that's where power is born. When you push your mind to obey you instead of your feelings, that's where fire is forged. Most people are slaves to how they feel. They only move when they're motivated. They only work when it's easy. They only stay disciplined when someone's watching. But champions, real champions, they don't wait for the right mood. They command their mind to move regardless of mood. They've trained it to say, "I don't negotiate with weakness. I don't answer to fear. I don't quit just because it's hard." That kind of mental strength is not given. It's built through thousands of unseen decisions, through sacrifice, through silence, through the daily rejection of excuses. Your mind will serve the one who trains it. And right now, someone or something is training your mind. If it's not you, it's the algorithm. It's your comfort zone. It's the opinions of people who've never built anything. If you don't lead your mind, something else will. And here's what most never understand. Your greatest competition isn't other people. It's your old programming. The version of you that was trained by fear. The version of you that was trained to hide, to hesitate, to hand over your power. That's who you're fighting. That's the battle every morning. And until you rise up and say, "I am not that person anymore," the loop will repeat. But if you decide, really decide, to become the one who trains your mind with purpose, your entire life begins to shift. Suddenly, pressure doesn't shake you, it sharpens you. Discomfort doesn't scare you, it strengthens you. Distractions don't steal from you, you destroy them, because now your mind listens to you. Now, when fear shows up, your response isn't to freeze, it's to focus. Now, when doubt creeps in, you don't spiral, you stand. Now, when pain comes, you don't run, you rise. That's the power of a trained mind. It doesn't panic under pressure. It executes, but you only get there if you put in the reps. Every single day, not just when it's convenient, not just when it's Instagrammable, but when it's ugly, when it's exhausting, when no one else sees it, and you still show up. And here's what no one tells you. Training your mind isn't about becoming a robot. It's about becoming free. Because until your mind is trained, you are not free. You're a prisoner to emotion, to mood, to weakness. But once you train your mind, you gain access to the most powerful freedom there is, the ability to act in alignment with your mission, not your feelings oh, you know how rare that is? To be someone who moves with discipline in a world addicted to distraction? To be someone who chooses growth over comfort in a culture that glorifies ease? That's power. That's leadership. That's what changes lives. And it starts with training your own. You want to change your future? Then train your mind to stop running back to the patterns that broke you. Train it to stop glorifying comfort. Train it to find strength in struggle, clarity in challenge, direction in discipline. Your mind is listening to every choice you make. Every time you hit snooze, it learns. Every time you skip the hard work, it learns. Every time you give into fear, it learns. But every time you rise anyway, even when it's hard, even when it's slow, even when it hurts, it learns something greater. It learns that you're in charge now. Decide who's in charge. Don't wait for life to hand you confidence. Build it through consistency. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Create it through movement. Don't wait for your mind to magically change. Command it. Shape it. Train it. Because the mind will always serve the one who trains it. And when that person is you, you become unstoppable. Your mind is programmable. Let that sink in. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are not defined by your past. You are programmable. And the most dangerous lie the world has sold you is this: that who you are right now is who you have to stay. That your patterns, your fears, your habits, your flaws, that they are fixed, final, permanent. But that is a lie. A destructive, paralyzing, dream-stealing lie. And it's time you burned it to the ground. You were born with a mind capable of transformation. You were created with the capacity to rewire, relearn, reshape, and rise. Your brain is not a prison, it's a tool. And like any tool, it will follow the hand that uses it. It will adapt to whatever you feed it, whatever you repeat, whatever you believe. And that should make you tremble, because it means your life is not a product of your reality. It's a product of your programming, your reactions, your self-doubt, your anxiety, your procrastination. These didn't appear by accident. They were built, repeated, reinforced, and now, like well-worn grooves in the road, your mind keeps returning to the same patterns, not because they serve you, but because they're familiar. They're automatic. They're what your brain has practiced. But just because something is automatic doesn't mean it's permanent. A program can be deleted, a system can be upgraded, and a mind can be rewired. That's not hype. That's neuroscience. That's truth. The same way you trained your brain to shrink, to fear, to doubt, you can train it to grow, to believe, to move forward with courage. It starts with a decision. I will no longer let my past dictate my future. I will no longer obey the thoughts that destroy me. I will rewire my mind for growth, because I was not created to stay small. But let me warn you, this is not easy. Rewiring your mind requires war, a daily battle between who you've been and who you're becoming, between the lie that says, this is just how I am, and the truth that says, this is not who I have to be. The first step is awareness. You have to learn to listen to yourself, not casually, but ruthlessly. You have to catch the thoughts that sneak in and say, you can't do that. They're better than you. You're going to fail. And instead of agreeing, you interrogate. You challenge. You question. Where did that thought come from? Is it serving me? Is it rooted in truth or in trauma? And once you've exposed the lie, you replace it. Not with fluffy affirmations, but with rewired truth. Not, I am perfect, but I am growing. Not, I have no fear, but I have courage to act despite fear. Not, I will succeed instantly, but I will outlast every obstacle until I do. Because real growth isn't delusion, it's defiance. It's choosing to believe what builds you, even when the old programming screams the opposite. Then comes the repetition, because rewiring isn't a one-time event. It's a daily grind. You don't erase years of fear with one moment of motivation. You fight for this every morning, every night, every setback. And you don't wait to feel ready. You act anyway, because action is the language your brain understands. When you consistently choose to move forward, even when it's hard, even when it's scary, your brain begins to adjust. It starts saying, "Oh, this is who we are now. This is what we do." And slowly, quietly, powerfully, the wiring begins to change. Where there was once fear, there's now focus. Where there was once insecurity, there's now identity. Where there was once hesitation, there's now hunger. But this only happens when you stop accepting comfort and start pursuing growth. And growth is messy. It's frustrating. It's slow. It's silent. There's no applause. There's no instant reward. And that's why most people stay stuck. Not because they can't grow, but because they won't rewire their mind to love the process. But not you. You're done being a prisoner to old programming. You're done letting doubt have the final word. You're done mistaking your current reality for your permanent identity. You're done repeating the same cycles and calling it just who I am. You were made for more. And now it's time to fight for it. That means being brutally honest about what you're feeding your mind. What you watch, what you listen to, who you follow, it all wires you. Every conversation, every video, every habit, every environment. Your brain is absorbing, learning, adapting. Even when you're not paying attention. So ask yourself, is what I'm feeding my mind helping me grow or keeping me stuck? Is it building courage or fueling fear? Is it programming greatness or reinforcing mediocrity because you can't grow on garbage? You can't build a warrior mindset on weak input. You want to think like a leader? Then you've got to feed your mind leadership. You want to live like a champion? Then starve the thoughts that make you a victim. This is how the great ones rise. Not with better luck, but with better wiring. They taught their brain to expect resistance. They trained their thoughts to interpret failure as feedback, not finality. They told themselves the truth, even when it hurt. And eventually, their mind began to serve their mission, not sabotage it. And now, that is your mission, to rewire your mind until growth becomes your default, until confidence becomes your baseline, until challenges no longer shake you, but sharpen you, until you no longer chase the easy road. You crave the one that forges power, because once your mind is trained, once it's aligned with your future, instead of your past, there is no force on earth that can hold you back. You become focused, resilient, creative, hungry, disciplined. You stop playing defense and you go on the attack. You stop surviving and start leading. And here's the beautiful part. When you rewire your mind for growth, everything else follows. Your habits improve. Your relationships deepen. Your courage rises. Your clarity sharpens. You stop waiting for motivation and start building momentum. You stop hiding behind your old story and start living in a new one. Because in the end, your life doesn't rise to the level of your intentions. It rises to the level of your wiring. And now, you're not just reacting to life, you're reprogramming it from the inside out. So do the work. Do it scared. Do it tired. Do it when it's thankless. Do it when no one notices. Because you're not doing this for attention. You're doing this for freedom. And when you look in the mirror and realize, this is no longer the same mind I used to have, you'll know you've become unstoppable. In a world that's constantly screaming for your attention, from your phone, from people, from problems. There is one ability more rare than talent, more powerful than intelligence, and more essential than luck. That ability is focus. Focus is the silent force behind every great achievement in history. It's what separates the distracted from the disciplined, the average from the unstoppable. You can have all the ambition in the world, but if your mind is scattered, if your energy is divided, your potential is wasted. Because a distracted mind is a defeated mind. It's not just about working hard. It's about working sharp, working deep, working with undivided intention. Focus is not natural in this world. Everything is designed to break it. Notifications, noise, opinions, temptation, all of it is fighting to pull you away from what truly matters. That's why so many people start strong and finish nowhere. It's not because they weren't good enough. It's because they let the world pull their attention into 1,000 directions, and you cannot win a war with a divided army. The truth is, your energy flows wherever your attention goes. You could be building something extraordinary, but if you're constantly shifting your focus, checking this, worrying about that, comparing yourself to them, then your progress will always be microscopic, inconsistent, frustrating. And eventually, you'll say, "Why isn't this working?" But the question isn't why it isn't working. The question is, where is your focus going? Look at anyone who's changed the world. Athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, artists. They all had one thing in common. They trained their mind to focus like a laser. Not just occasionally, not just when they felt like it, but relentlessly, intentionally, with discipline. Because they knew something most people don't. Distraction is the death of greatness. Every time you let your focus drift, you lose momentum. You lose time. You lose power. But when you lock in, when you silence the noise, shut the door, cut the excuses, something incredible happens. You begin to feel your mind sharpen. Your energy intensifies. You stop reacting and you start executing. That's what focus does. It activates your inner weapon. And make no mistake, focus is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Most people are drowning in busyness, checking boxes, chasing everything, but accomplishing nothing that truly moves their life forward. Because busyness is the illusion of productivity. Focus is the engine of impact. You don't need 50 goals. You need one goal, owned fully. Imagine what you could build, become, and conquer if you gave one goal your full attention for the next 90 days. No distractions, no second guessing, no half effort, just full, locked in, all-out focus. That's how breakthroughs happen, not from scattered motion, but from sustained pressure. And yes, it's hard. The world won't stop trying to pull you back into the shallow end. You'll be tempted to quit, to switch tasks, to escape the intensity. But that's the moment you lean in. Because the edge of discomfort is where transformation begins. When your mind says, "This is boring, this is hard, let's do something easier," that is your cue to dig deeper. Focus isn't always fun. It's not sexy. It doesn't always look impressive. But it's in those quiet, gritty moments when no one's clapping, when the reward is far away, that giants are made. While the world is chasing dopamine, you're building discipline. While others are distracted, you're becoming dangerous. You see, focused people are feared. They walk with clarity. They move with intention. They don't waste energy on drama, gossip, or doubt. They're too busy building, too busy growing, too busy winning the war between impulse and mission. And that's what you must become, a soldier of focus. Because here's what no one tells you. The greatest threat to your dream isn't failure. It's fragmentation. It's having too many tabs open in your mind. It's letting every distraction rent space in your head. It's switching goals every week and wondering why nothing sticks. But if you want to build a legacy, something that lasts, something that echoes, then you must choose to focus, even when it's hard, even when it's slow, even when no one else sees the vision. You are not here to be busy. You are here to be effective, and effectiveness demands a war against distraction. You must protect your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future, your calling, your legacy, it all depends on how well you manage this one priceless resource. Your focus. Cut out what doesn't align. Unfollow the noise. Say no to things that don't serve your purpose. Because every yes to distraction is a no to your destiny. And that destiny is too important to delay. You weren't born to scroll your life away. You weren't born to multitask mediocrity. You were born to create something powerful, something excellent, something focused. You don't need to control everything in life, but you must control your focus. Because when your focus is right, your emotions follow. Your decisions improve. Your confidence rises. You start creating momentum that builds day after day, hour after hour. And suddenly, the impossible begins to move. Not because life got easier, but because you got sharper. People will say you've changed, that you're too intense, too obsessed. Let them talk. Let them doubt. That's the cost of focus. But remember, the world was not built by the easily distracted. It was built by the obsessed. The ones who chose one thing and gave it everything to the next time your mind wanders, bring it back. The next time you're tempted by distraction, shut it down. The next time you feel tired, bored, or discouraged, remind yourself, this is what winning feels like. Not excitement, not hype, but commitment. Relentless, quiet, powerful commitment. This is how you separate yourself. Not with talent, not with luck, but with the ability to do what others won't. Focus in a world that's lost its mind. Lock in. Cut the noise. Sharpen your vision. And let your results speak louder than your distractions. There is a truth so powerful, so earth-shaking, that once you understand it, your life will never be the same again. And here it is. What you believe becomes what you live. Not what you want. Not what you dream. Not what you wish. What you believe. Your beliefs are the architects of your reality. They are the invisible blueprints behind every action, every reaction, every outcome. You may not see them, but they're always at work. Behind every risk you didn't take, every dream you abandoned, every time you said, I can't, was a belief. A silent agreement in your mind that said, I'm not worthy. I'm not ready. I'm not capable. And as long as you believe that, it will be true for you. Not because it's truth, but because your belief made it so. People don't rise to the level of their goals. They fall to the level of their beliefs. You can set the highest goals in the world, but if your beliefs say you're not the kind of person who succeeds, then you'll sabotage yourself every step of the way. You'll talk yourself out of opportunity. You'll delay action. You'll create excuses. And worst of all, you won't even know you're doing it because your beliefs feel like truth. That's the trap. We don't question our beliefs because we think they are facts. But what if they're lies? What if that voice in your head that says you're not smart enough, you'll always struggle, you're not like them? What if that voice is nothing more than an echo of someone else's fear that you unknowingly adopted as your own? You were not born doubting yourself. You were not born afraid to shine. That was learned, conditioned, repeated. Somewhere along the way, someone told you who you were, and you believed it. And now, you are living in the prison of that belief. But here's the good news. If beliefs are learned, they can be unlearned. If they were built, they can be broken. If they were planted, they can be uprooted. And in their place, you can grow something new, something stronger, something true. You can rewrite the narrative of who you are, not by magic, not by hoping, but by taking back the pen and becoming the author of your own mind. Every transformation begins with this question: what do I really believe about myself? Not what, Do I say I believe? What do I actually believe when I'm alone, when I fail, when things get hard? Because belief is not in words, it's in action. You can say, I'm confident, but if you avoid every challenge, that's not belief. That's fear pretending. You can say, I deserve success, but if you keep settling for less, then deep down, you don't believe it yet. And until you change that inner belief, you will always return to what feels familiar, even if what's familiar is pain, struggle, or failure. That's why people sabotage their own success. It's not because they're weak, it's because success feels unfamiliar, unsafe, unworthy, and the mind always seeks to return to what it knows, even if what it knows is destroying you. So, how do you change this? You start by challenging your internal language. You start by listening to your thoughts and asking, who told me this? Where did this belief come from? Is it even true? Because once you expose a lie, it loses its power. Then you replace it, not with empty affirmations, but with a new identity, a new belief system, one that says, I am capable, I am worthy, I can grow, I can change, I don't have to stay where I've always been. But don't stop there. Belief is more than thought. It is action repeated until it becomes identity. You must live like the person you want to believe you are. Show up like them. Speak like them. Train like them. Decide like them. Because every action either strengthens your old identity or builds your new one. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. The old beliefs will fight to keep you small. They'll whisper, see, you're failing again, the first time you stumble. But you must speak louder than that voice. You must say, no, this is me growing. This is me learning. This is what becoming powerful looks like. You have to walk through the discomfort of transformation to become the person your future needs you to be. No one escapes this. Every champion you admire has walked through fire, not just in the world, but in the war of belief. Because to become great, you must first believe you can be. Let me be clear, belief is not arrogance. It's not pretending. It's alignment. It's integrity. It's saying, I refuse to live one more day contradicting the truth of who I really am. And who are you? You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are not your doubts. You are the one who decides. You are the one who chooses. And today, you choose new beliefs. So ask yourself this. What kind of person gets what I want? What kind of person achieves that dream? What kind of person walks in that level of confidence? Discipline? Success? Then start becoming that person in mind first. Believe like them. Think like them. Move like them. Because once your identity shifts, your world will follow. You'll start noticing different opportunities. You'll speak differently. You'll take new risks. You'll break through barriers that once seemed impossible, not because the world changed, but because you did. The mind doesn't respond to the world. It shapes it. What you believe about yourself determines what you allow, what you pursue, and what you tolerate. When you raise your beliefs, you raise your standards. And when you raise your standards, you raise your life. Your beliefs are the thermostat of your destiny. You may touch success, but if your internal temperature is set to mediocrity, you'll find a way to sabotage it. But if you shift your internal setting to greatness, truly shift it, then even when you fail, you'll rise. Even when you lose, you'll rebuild. Because your mind no longer believes in defeat. This is the power of belief. It creates your lens, your energy, your momentum. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe you're worthy of. And that is not decided by your past. It is decided by what you believe right now. In this moment. So choose to believe something bold. Choose to believe something different. Choose to believe something powerful. Speak life over your own mind. Feed it truth. Train it to recognize lies. And when fear shows up, as it always will, stand your ground. Saying, not today, not anymore. I know who I am. I know what I'm building, and I know what I believe. Because belief is not a feeling, it is a declaration, a decision, a standard. And the moment you decide to believe in your power, everything around you begins to rise to meet it. They say success is found in the world, in money, fame, opportunities. But the truth most people never tell you is this: success is born, built, and broken in the mind. You could have every tool, every talent, and every connection, but if your mind is weak, fearful, or undisciplined, you will sabotage everything before it ever gets started. This is the battlefield. This is the arena. And most people lose the war before they ever take the first step. You see, your mind is not a passive thing. It's not just a storage unit for thoughts and memories. It's a weapon, a builder, a destroyer, and it will work for you or against you depending on who's in charge. Every dream you've ever had, every goal you've written down, every ounce of potential inside you, it all hinges on one thing: the power of your mind. The reason most people fail isn't because they're not capable. It's because their thoughts tell them they're not capable, and they believe it. They listen to that quiet voice inside, the one that whispers, "You're not enough. You'll never make it. Who do you think you are?" And instead of rejecting that voice, they surrender to it. They make it their reality. But here's the truth: your mind will become your prison or your power, depending on what you allow to live there. Every morning you wake up, you're stepping onto a battlefield. Not in the streets, not in the boardroom, but in your head. And the enemy isn't outside. It's that voice that says, "Stay safe, stay small, don't take the risk." That voice is fear, dressed in reason. It disguises itself as logic, as caution, as humility. But in truth, it is the silent killer of dreams. Because while you hesitate, someone else is executing. While you doubt, someone else is daring. While you procrastinate, someone else is rising. Let me tell you something powerful. Every limitation in your life began as a thought. You didn't fail because you were weak. You failed because you accepted a lie and made it your truth. You decided somewhere deep inside, "I'm not the type of person who can do this." And your mind, loyal and obedient, said, "Okay, I'll make sure." That becomes your reality. But what if you flip the script? What if instead of telling yourself, "I can't," you told yourself, "I must"? What if instead of letting fear lead, you led with purpose? Because here's the incredible thing: your mind will believe whatever you feed it most. If you tell it you're strong, it will find strength. If you tell it you're ready, it will search for readiness. If you tell it you're capable, it will create capability. But if you feed it fear, self-pity, and excuses, it will dig a grave for. Every dream you have to take control. You have to train your mind like a soldier trains his weapon, with precision, with consistency, and with discipline. This isn't about fake positivity. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about fighting for your future, one thought at a time. Because make no mistake, every breakthrough begins in the mind long before it shows up in the world. You think champions are born? They're made in silence, in solitude, in struggle. When no one is watching, when no one is cheering, they're battling the same demons you are. The difference? They didn't back down. They didn't let their mind talk them out of greatness. They didn't let doubt become a decision. The most dangerous moment in your life is not when you fail. It's when your mind tells you to quit and you listen. Because quitting doesn't happen in your actions. It happens in your thoughts. The moment you say, "This is too hard. I'm not built for this. It's not worth it," that's when your future begins to collapse. One compromise at a time. One excuse at a time. One moment of surrender that turns into a lifetime of regret. But you don't have to go down that path. You can choose differently. You can become the master of your mind instead of its slave. How? By becoming aware, by becoming intentional, By becoming disciplined. Your mind doesn't need to be perfect, it needs to be trained. You need to create a pattern of choosing strength over comfort, truth over lies, action over hesitation. Oh, you think your heroes didn't feel fear? They did. But they felt fear and moved anyway. They heard doubt, but refused to obey it. They were tempted to quit, but they trained their minds to say, not today, not now, not ever. That kind of mindset isn't gifted, it's built, brick by brick, day by day, thought by thought. This is why mental discipline is the most powerful force in the world. Because if you can control your mind, you can control your emotions, your habits, your focus, your energy, your destiny. No storm can shake a person who has mastered their internal world. No failure can stop someone who refuses to accept defeat in their mind. Think about it. The greatest inventors, leaders, athletes, creators, they all had one thing in common. Not money, not genius, but an unshakable belief in what was possible. When the world said no, their mind said try again. When they were rejected, criticized, broken, their mind said get up. They weren't lucky. They were mentally unbreakable. So the question is not, can you succeed? The real question is, can you win the war inside? Because if you can defeat fear, laziness, self-doubt, insecurity, then there is no mountain too high, no goal too far. But if you don't conquer your mind, then even the smallest challenges will look like giants. Every time you hit a wall, you have a choice: shrink back or rise up. You can say, I can't, or you can say, let's find a way. You can let your mind bully you, or you can rise and take command. The moment you decide, really decide, that you are no longer going to let your mind run wild with fear, excuses, and weakness, that is the moment your life will begin to shift. You were not born to live small. You were not created for mediocrity. That restless fire in you, that desire for more, that hunger for greatness, it's not a mistake. It's a calling. But that calling requires courage. It demands discipline. It begs for a mind that refuses to bow to weakness. So stand up. Inside yourself. Get angry about your limitations. Get focused on your mission. Talk to yourself like someone you believe in. Because you don't need more motivation, you need mental mastery. And that begins by winning the war between your ears. Tell your mind what to believe. Tell it what you will do. Tell it what you refuse to accept. Your future isn't waiting out there. It's being shaped in here. Every day, every hour, every thought. You want power? Then take back control of your thoughts. Because once you do that, there is no force on earth that can stop you. Not even you.